What's up, everybody? It is that time again, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. My name is Rachel Blatt. I am your host of this episode of Car Biz Leaders Live. I have a wonderful guest for you today, Billy Merritt. He is a master, and he has an incredible success story. He is the author of The Art of the Text Message Selling. He has a BDC call center. He helps dealerships all over the country just promote them and get them more business in their doors. And he's a really special guy. I can't wait to hear all about it. But without any further ado, welcome to the show, Car Biz Leaders Live. Here we go. Let's do this. And let's welcome Billy. Billy Merritt, how are you?
I'm doing super. Thanks for having me on.
I'm so excited for you to be here. Just honored to have you as a guest. I know you're killing it out there in a crazy market. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to my audience and see how things are going.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. That intro was very good, by the way. There was some stars on there. My producer's back here. He's looking. He was liking that. So, Chaka Dyson and Frank Canetti. You've had quite a few superstars on your show. Honored to be here. Yeah, my name is Billy Merritt. I am the author of The Art of Text Message Selling. The Art of Text Message Selling is the first manual that was ever written on how to talk to customers online and get them to actually show up and buy your product. So, and it's never been more important, of course, than through this whole pandemic situation we've been in. It's pushed our product right front and center to actually prove itself in the marketplace. So, I've been in the car business for 25 years. Went through the ranks of the dealership from washing cars to running dealerships to owning my own dealership. I left the auto industry and got on the vendor side. I actually got a contract to sell Cardone on demand with Grant Cardone. Yeah. So we pushed that for a while, and then I decided I wanted to sell my own product. So we developed things that we took to the marketplace, and it's been quite the ride. The last 2.5 years have been phenomenal. We work with over 2,000 dealerships nationwide. But like I told you before, Rachel, it hasn't always been like that. There's been a bunch of dead ends, a bunch of restarts, and a bunch of, oh my God, what are we going to do?
Right. Well, we've all been through it. I think that's like the journey of the entrepreneur. And sometimes like out there, people really need to know that it, just because like you're having all this success right now doesn't mean that you didn't go through your trials and tribulations to get there,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a mere, see if I want to back into this or start at the beginning. I'll start at the beginning. 25 years ago, I just started washing cars, and I was detailing cars for all the car dealers in my little town. And I kept finding myself in the showroom, and I watched sales managers write those worksheets. And I was intrigued. So many people say they accidentally found the car business. When I found myself in the showroom, I wanted to be there. I mean, it wasn't, that's where I wanted to go. And I was 20 years old, and it was a great journey. I learned a lot. I moved to several different dealerships, became a sales manager, finance manager, ended up becoming got fired a few times, by the way. I mean, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. I was not always a great employee. I had yeah, I think I was kind of forced into entrepreneurship a few times. Like, you can't work here anymore. You got to go. I had to find something to do. But if you fast forward to around 10 or 11 years ago, I was at a low point. I didn't have any money. I didn't have driver's license. I didn't have a car that the bank wasn't looking for. I didn't have insurance on the car. I had a real low spot, living with my cousin, sleeping on a couch. Just been through a divorce, and it was just a real low time. I didn't have anywhere to bring my kids, and and be the dad that was so
Yeah.
important to me. So, but luckily, I found someone to give me hope again, and she's currently my wife now. We got married 8 years ago, and she's going to be excited that I remembered that. But when we got married, Rachel, we didn't have any money. I mean, we lived in a 1,200 square foot home, and again, I'd recently lost a good job, and I started selling cars again. I just had to get back. I had to do something to make some money, and from then till now, we lost it all several times. I mean, at one time, just 4 or 5 years ago, what I thought was my plan was to own a franchise dealer. So I was in business. I was working for a franchise dealer. He had a couple of different dealerships, and I was the general manager of one of the stores. My plan was to buy into that store. I started doing these Facebook things and running Facebook campaigns and doing Facebook events and running these big offers on Facebook that he didn't understand. And we got into an argument about it, and I left there without a job. And, I had to go home. I had to go home and tell my wife, hey, I just got fired again. So, that was tough. And we had less than $5,000. But what I had, Rachel, was an idea that I knew would work in any market. And that tragedy or that bad situation that looked terrible was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, because I hopped on a plane and I took the art of text message selling to the marketplace. And this year we'll do a little over $10 million in revenue. And there's a lot of profit in that. So it's been.
That's awesome to hear. Let's say let's say hi to some friends. What's up, Brady Roberts? Thank you for being on and watching us. We're happy to have you. Philippe, what's up? Thank you so much for joining us today too. Awesome that you guys are supporting us. I think that we've all gone through our win everything, lose everything. In fact, I call it the pendulum, like as far as it swings back, it's got to swing forward. What do you think are some of the things that really just captivated you or like motivated you or just got you on the go train again?
Well, here's the thing. Now, I want to be really, really clear right here. Everybody's not going to get this, and it's not about motivation, and it's not even about education. And if you want financial freedom, okay, it starts with a serious question. And I don't know how to help anybody that answers the question differently than the way I answered it. But if you have to ask yourself, Rachel, now this is the truth. This is the truth. And I know it's the truth. You have to ask yourself, what do you really, really, really want? Do you really, 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 really want financial freedom? Or is it just an idea like, yeah, that'd be cool.
Right.
Everyone says, yeah, I'd like to be rich. But you have to. We'll go back to the book, Think and Grow Rich. The first one, by the way, it is a great book. So many people have read that book, but so few people are rich. Okay, so as a matter of fact, only the top 1% control like 33% of the world's wealth, or the United States wealth, and the top 10% control 70%. So few people get it. But you have to ask yourself a question: does Napoleon Hill know what he's talking about? And if so, you have to do exactly what he says, which is create a burning desire. If you do not have a burning desire to be wealthy, then you're not going to be. As a matter of fact, you cannot get there without a burning desire. It's impossible. So if you answer that question, then you're not going to get it. You have to work yourself up into. You have to use hate. You have to hate the fact that you're not financially free so bad that you will do anything to achieve it.
I think that is absolutely true too. And I think, you have to have, like, being an entrepreneur, like there are days where it's like the world is coming down on your shoulders and it's like, oh, it's so heavy. And you have to have like an inner fire to kind of get up and do it all over the next day and put yourself out there and put yourself into uncomfortable situations just so you can make it. And I think that's really important. But I love that. What I love about that book, and this is why I'm so happy to be talking to you, is the mastermind piece. That where you're kind of reflecting off of each other's brain waves. And I'm hoping to get some little success osmosis from you.
Absolutely. And that is a very important thing. It is. I don't want to miss the fact that what's more important, and we'll talk about the mastermind, and I will go deep on it, and I'll get into exactly what you want to get into, which is very, very powerful and very important. But I just want to make sure that people understand very clearly that you have to want it so bad that you'll do whatever it takes to get it. And that means, Rachel, okay, finding a mentor, listening to them. Does this person know what they're talking about? And if so, let's listen and do what they say. You can't say that you want it and that you're willing to do whatever it takes if you don't do exactly what your mentors tell you to do. And if, for instance, before you get to the mastermind, which is very important, you have to know where you're going. You have to know where you are, and your goals are so important. Goals, it all starts with the goal. If you make the decision that you will do whatever it takes, and that you really have a burning desire for success, whatever that looks like for you, then you have to write your goals down. You have to get very specific about your goals, and you have to write them down where they're at the top of your mind. And once you have goals, this is getting in a little bit more what you want to talk about. You have to think big, and you have to dream big, and it is absolutely important to daydream and to see yourself, to visualize yourself in the position that you want to be in so bad, because that's when the magic starts to happen, where your thinking changes and you're able to create some reality. And there's some tricks to doing that really, really work. And I'll be happy to share those with you as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I really want to know, like, I think there's two types of goals personally. I think there's like the to-do list goals, like your daily, like check off the box. In fact, I got a bunch of them behind me that I got to do all the time. Just like my daily task goals. But I think that there's big picture goals too. What are some of the goals that what are some of the day-to-days that you do? What are some of the big hairy ones?
Yep. So that's two totally different things. You're exactly right. You have your task behind you back there, but you need to sit down, okay, and ask yourself, what do I really, really, really want? What does the ideal situation look like? And allow yourself to dream big. And then you write that down. Mine was to make $1 million in 1 year, to have $1 million per year residual income. And that was so big at the time I wrote it down that it seemed impossible. It seemed it seemed absurd, but I started writing it down. I started writing it down daily, and I acquired that, and it's happened to me. So now our goals change. And by the way, it's okay. It's okay to say things like, I want to be rich and I need $1 million per year, because you can save the world and you can become the best, the most charitable, the most giving, the most spiritual person you want to be, but you can do a whole lot more. You can focus all your time on that once you get your money right. So, my goals are definitely, they start with money, so that I can accomplish that and get that handled. And how you phrase your goals is very important. Writing them down in the present tense as if they already are, and using those grateful word vocabulary. I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. And you write that down a thousand times, you start programming yourself. And now that, and we still have big money goals in this organization. We're only getting started, but now that we have freedom, because that's what we need money for, is the freedom. The freedom to do the things that we want to do. So now my goals are shifting. My primary goals were money. We've accomplished that. We're not going to take our eyeball off of that, and we're going to grow that. But now my goal is just simply, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm happy and grateful. What could be better than that? We got the money right. Now let's get everything else right. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm happy and grateful. And then that statement itself, when it becomes a part of your dream, and you start chanting that, if you will, and you have to emotionalize. You really have to emotionalize your goals so that you're pulling on that spiritual, so that you're pulling on those things that the abstract, and that's where the mastermind comes in. Is that once you have all those things in order, and you're really focused on what you want, and you're really writing down your goals, and you are really, really, really emotionalizing your goals, you start networking with people, and you can start pulling off of their powers and their superpowers, and a lot of people call it the law of attraction. But man, the law of attraction, the evidence of the law of attraction in my life is so real. The people that I'm connected with from across the country in 48 states is absolutely amazing. And, I can have virtual meetings with them at any time.
Yeah.
And then when they're not there, you can just simply get in your quiet space, close the door, and have, one of those, imaginary, those are always fun too.
The Napoleon Hill coming out a little bit too. And I really do think that emotionalizing your goals too. Whenever I feel fear, I'm always like, I hope I win $1 million, because, the fear, I think, translates faster in terms of, magnetizing things into your life. So whenever I feel fear, I'm always like, I hope I win $1 million. I'm scared to win $1 million, just so I can attract that faster into my life. I find that that's so important, because there's a lot of times out there when, things are scary. We don't know, we got the vaccine coming out, but, nobody knows when they're going to be traveling again, or going to conferences again, or being out with people again. And it's just so, we're lucky to have like this virtual conversation, but I feel like the in touch thing is a little bit missing too. Tell me like a time when, like somebody really touched you, and it just kind of came together for you.
Well, I feel like I've been touched spiritually from the universe with a capital U, many times in my life, that absolutely quickened something inside of me that got it turning, because these big ideas that came to, that are in my head, I didn't think them up. Somebody had to put them there. But, as far as, life-changing moments with humans, John C. Maxwell, reading his book on leadership really changed my life. If you can read Napoleon Hill's book and not be changed by it, then you really don't believe what he's saying,
Right.
And then before I got a contract with Grant Cardone, I was on YouTube researching some sales and things, and I saw him speaking about stop selling and start closing, and it really woke me up to like, wait, this guy's different. To someone that I need to know more about. And I just started pursuing him, like a stalker, until he gave me a contract.
Well, I used to watch Young Hustlers on Grant Cardone all the time on YouTube, and I was like won over when he was like, what do you got in your pocket? You masturbating? He's like, how much money you got in your pocket? And his sense of humor and his directness and his, quit being a little bitch and all these things that he would say, that was just like so humorous, but really like, yeah, stop making excuses, and he's really definitely changed my life. I'm the true definition of 10X for there too. How was your experience working, selling his contract? How did that did that just level up your game, or?
The biggest change there in my ability was when the morning calls, when we would get on a call and we'd role play, and we would train together, and just being around or being on that team every morning and actually role playing with those guys. That was the most, you got to train. Training's huge. And you have to be great at your craft, whatever that is, whatever you're doing, you need to be great at it. And that doesn't come without training. So training with some real rock stars and some really talented guys, that was the most meaningful part of that whole experience.
Yeah, I definitely love those guys, and I still work with them today, and I'm still training today. I've been selling for like 20 years, and I still go back through and I'll read it a bunch of times. I mean, you always pick up something new, So if people want, like, what is some of you, if people want to, like, tell me more about your business. What I really want to know is like how you've helped other companies. What is like the true mission behind your company?
So, the car business, I've been in it for 25 years, and there's so many people who aren't that good at it. And
Mhm.
I saw that the biggest opportunity was on social media, because everybody's on social media. By the way, I've been banging on social media for the last 8 years and took a whole lot of criticism for it, because it's insignificant. You can't sell anything on Facebook, all these things. But that's where everybody is. 75% of the country has a Facebook account. And, so we got to go to Facebook and get these people from there. And so we found out how to use Facebook ads. And I just noticed that there were a few software companies out there that did things like chat and did things like direct messaging and texting and things. Their software was pretty good, but their talent was terrible. And so, and again, I'm an optimist. I'm a positive person, but sometimes you just have to be honest about things. And if you look at website chat right now today, there's 20,000 dealers in the country, franchise dealers, and they all have a website chat, and they all have one thing in common. They're absolutely terrible. I mean, their conversations and the people on the other end of that on the other end of that chat are just untalented. And the same thing was happening with Facebook events, Facebook Messenger. First of all, dealers had a Facebook account, and they would post the weather on there, and they would post maybe a car on there, but then, it would get one like and one comment, and nobody would respond to the comment. If it got a message inside the messenger, nobody was answering the message. I'm like, guys, these are real people interested in your product. You got to do better. So we started helping dealers market to those customers, and then my guys behind these walls back here, they're constantly answering leads, and they use the art of text message selling, which was the first manual on how to actually talk to customers through digital text and direct message, and give. It's based on the training, that I've had with Grant, and then turn that meaningful conversation into an appointment that will show up and buy. So we use appointment-based selling, and 3 years ago, we had 0 customers. We wrote down this business model on the back on a napkin at a coffee shop, and we didn't have an office. And now we have 48 employees. They all have their individual workstation, and they're really, really, really good at what they do. Now we're focusing on website chat. So we developed the DigiNinja chat. It's also CRM, but we can put our chat function. We can replace those 20,000 terrible chat services.
Yeah.
With a chat that has real people. We don't use AI. We don't use robots. We use real people who have talent and skill, and they're very highly trained. So, and from there we can go to furniture. We can go to, anything, anybody who has a website, we can turn their customers into buyers.
I think that's so important. I think at this time when people are craving that human interaction, I can't tell you how many times I've hung up on a bot.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to listen to it. I'm just like, ding, like, and I also am like a sucker for a good salesperson too. Like, I want to be like wowed, and I find like I'm more likely to buy from like a human being who's great at their craft, than I am not. And I think that's so important. And there's a lot of hoopla in these texts too, like all this unnecessary chat.
Yeah.
And I think if you can get down to the point of it, then you're much more likely to get the sale. I definitely agree with that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So, the master salesperson is the anti-salesperson. If you sound like a salesperson, so you're probably not a sucker for the cheesy salesperson that's, hey, you ready to buy today? Hey, what you're trading in today? But you're not a sucker. You're a very good judge of character when you run into someone who is serving you, someone who is going to give you and be the most helpful person. So that's what we do with chat. For far too long in the car business, general managers and dealers, they said, don't give them a price over the phone. You can't sell a car over the phone. You can't sell a car through text. Well, good thing they didn't have to deal with COVID back then, because they definitely would have been in trouble. But we started selling cars via text, through Facebook Messenger, delivering cars or praising cars through Messenger a long, long time ago. So we're going to give. We're going to provide the most value. And if we're providing the most value, then that person, when they buy, and everybody's going to buy, they're going to buy from the person who's most helpful.
Awesome. So from, just final thoughts, I want to hear like, what was the, best advice that you have for anybody out there that, is struggling or going through stuff, or, how to break through those tough times, break through that ceiling and get to the other side.
All right. So I'm going to back up to make sure that we really get the good information out there. And the first thing is you got to ask yourself ask yourself a question. What do you really want? And do you really want financial freedom? And if you do, then you can get started. How do you get started? You get started by writing down your goals. You get started by writing them down daily, by visualizing your goals, by vocalizing your goals, by dreaming big, allowing yourself to daydream, by hating the fact that you're not financially free, hating it so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes. If that means working 90 hours a week, if it means working 365 days, 14 hours a day straight. Let me ask you a question real quick, Rachel. Would you work 15 hours a day for 365 straight days? Now, you have to be productive for all 15 hours, but 15 hours a day straight for 365. And at the end of that, you don't have to win $1 million. You're gonna have somebody will give you $1 million. Would you do that?
Yes, I do now. I mean, I do now. I would. It doesn't feel like work to me, though. You know what I mean? Some days it does, but I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work.
Okay, so that's wonderful. So you're already doing what you have, most of it already there, right? So now some people won't do that. I actually asked someone in an interview, and they had to think about it. So that's all I need to know about that person. But I'm telling you, Rachel, if you're working 15 hours a day, being productive for 365 days, you can't not be successful. You're going to be successful if you have the right plan. So I do want to put this out there for people to understand what the right plan is. Mm-hmm. First of all, you got to ask yourself, what can you do to make money? And if that's where you're at now, that's wonderful. If not, you have to go somewhere where the more you work, the more productive you are, the more money you make, and that's generally sales. Then you have to set yourself up like a business person, not like a salesperson. And here's the thing that's missing in so many strategies is most people focus on sales, because sales cures all. But the flaw in that is you're not necessarily able to scale if you're only focusing on sales. And if you're not scaling or growing, you don't have a business, you have a hobby or a job. So what you must focus on first is marketing. You have to get attention. You have to get a lot of attention. You have to market and brand yourself as an expert, as the anti-salesperson, someone who knows what they're talking about, who has the useful information, someone that other people want to do business with. And then you can focus on lead generation. So it's marketing, lead generation with that big pipeline, with all these people interested in your product. You build that pipeline, and then you can start, sales is the easy part after that. So it's marketing, lead generation, and then sales. Okay. But that revenue that comes from sales has to be reinvested into your business so that you can scale. Because if you're not trying to scale your business, you don't have a business, you have a job, or you have a hobby, and you have to learn to scale. If you're not scaling, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Well, I think, I've had my own journey of scaling and growing and scaling, and and it's, to be honest with you, it's been a disaster. But I feel like, you know what? Everybody gets a chance to like reinvent themselves and
Absolutely.
Start over. And I feel like it's so important to just continue to go for the layup. That's my thing. I'm just going for the layup. Just keep going for the layup. Eventually it all works out. But, I find that, what are you do a lot of Facebook marketing. Obviously, that's how you go to market. But what are some of the things that you say to like kind of hook people in? Because I feel like sometimes you just don't know what to say out there.
Yep.
For me personally.
Absolutely. And most of us have that challenge. I had that challenge. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about marketing and what you can do and what everybody watching can do. You have to focus on marketing first. What is marketing? The best marketing is telling a story. So you're doing some excellent marketing by having these, talented people come on your show and give content. Content is king. You have to have good content. Well, most people don't realize that they have a lot of content. There's things that Rachel, that I have no idea about, and they're valuable things. So, doing the show, that's tremendous. Do the show every day, or every week at the same time. You have more content than that, and I'm sure you do. So you just write down what you specialize in, and then tell stories about that. And we're just talking about the free stuff right here. This show's free. Facebook is free. But here's how tricky it is. I tell my people, and I have some people who do extremely well. They make a lot of money, but they all tell me that they want to make more money. So I tell them, look, how many times a day do I post? 6, 8, 10 times. I said, there's a direct correlation between how much money you make and how many times you post on Facebook. I do not like Facebook. I don't post because I enjoy posting. I post because I know that somebody's going to see it. If they keep seeing my content, then I'll be on the top of their mind. So just post a lot, but you have to learn to be interesting. You have to learn that you do have content, that people do care about what you say. And when I run out of things to post, I'll look at one of my guys and see what they posted, and I'll copy and paste it and post it. So if you want to grow, you want to scale, you have to get known. You can't sell anything to anybody if they don't know you. So I'm going to make sure that everybody on my friends list knows me and knows what I do. I'm going to make sure they know about my show. I made sure that they knew I'm going to be on your show.
Right. I saw that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a bunch of people on too watching, so we appreciate you guys being on here. And for some reason, my the comments, I don't know what's going on with only a couple people have shown up in the comments, and we have like a whole bunch more. Yeah. Last week, I couldn't even see any of them. I had like 20 people on the comments, and I missed them. So that was
yeah. Well, they're seeing it though. That's the main thing. And we want to make sure that people see it on LinkedIn. You got to get your content out there and just promote yourself and brand yourself as the expert. See, Rachel, you're an expert, so you need to be known as the expert. I'm the salesman's advocate. That's what people know me as. People know that I love salespeople. I love helping salespeople. I love training salespeople. I love promoting salespeople. I love helping salespeople take their game. And I have people standing behind me back here that have taken their game from $50,000 a year to $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And, we tell those stories and we put those stories out there. So that's the biggest key, is to make sure you're putting it out there and that you're branding yourself as an expert in your market.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely feel like I am the expert. I've been doing this for a long time, shipping cars. That's what I do. And, work with a ton of dealerships out there, and I've seen everything you could possibly imagine. Cried my first year. It takes a gritty person to do what I do.
Sure.
It's fun, and I love what I do. Final thoughts to take us home.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a final thought. You're an expert. There's no one that would rather use a different shipping company than you, and cars are being shipped every day. So I would definitely tell my story. And so if you have a story, tell your story, get on there, show people what you do. When you're loading cars, unloading cars, picking up cars, listen, we took a little store one time, and these guys they can't, when I got fired, they left with me. They're here behind me. We took a little store that was selling 15 cars a month. We took it to 50 to 60 cars per month. And all we did was post what was going on. We would post the negotiations. We would post videos of the cars coming in on the trailers, and we would post the trade-ins. We would just post. We told the story all day, every day, and it became something that people tuned in. They wanted to see because I had interesting people that worked for me. So you're very interesting. Post. Let me see more about what you do and what you're an expert at. And that goes for everybody.
I love that. And that is so important too. And I think we all kind of need to put ourselves out there a little bit more, for sure. How can people get in touch with you?
Just search Billy Merritt. You can Google me, or Facebook's the easiest way. Just go to Facebook and Billy W. Merritt. Now, there are some imposters. Apparently, people like to take my photos and and go on dating sites and ask people for money. So they may have my name and my picture. Make sure it's the one with 5,000 Facebook friends. That's the real Billy Merritt.
Listen, the real Billy Merritt. Okay. And listen, I'm so lucky and so grateful to have you on my show. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you for your inspiration. Honestly, it has been a pleasure. And I hope to have you on again soon and that we can connect and hopefully we can help each other's businesses out in the future. Honestly,
absolutely. Our network is our net worth. So the more people we can connect with, the more powerful we are. We all need more friends. I got a new friend now.
I definitely have a new friend and I can't wait. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you. It's been a great episode and thanks guys for watching. Check us out on the YouTube. Check us out. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.